Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll officially call our meeting to order at 4:16, and we'll note that all of our members of the council are present. So we'll go ahead and move into item B, which is the approval of the agenda. It is just a one-pager today. So if everybody wants to take a chance to look at that, since the draft came out, the only addition is I forgot that we hadn't approved the August meeting minutes, so I added that piece back in. So that's an addition since I sent out the draft. So, motion by Ms. Hill. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Lane. Any discussion? All in favor of approving our agenda for today, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Awesome. So what?
No SBDM link on Dojo.
I thought I put that.
Sorry.
Let me check. I'm gonna stop sharing and turn my. Okay, so we've got the link is now on Dojo, so we'll go ahead and resume with our meeting. So our next agenda item is to review the minutes from August 20th. So if you want to take a second to review those minutes, and then we'll take a motion and a second to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Bowers, second by Ms. Russell. Any discussion? All in favor of approving our minutes from August 20th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So the next item on our agenda is the September 17th minutes. So if you'll take a second to review those. And again, a motion in a second.
All approved.
Motion by Ms. Hill,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Beasley. Any discussion?
This stuff is on the.
All in favor of approving our minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Awesome. So we'll move into our next area, which is the good news report. Since our last meeting, we've had our UK nursing students here. Our fourth grade students built some wonderful air filters that also function as nice breezes when you need an extra large fan. Our second grade took a field trip to Salado or Salado, however you call it. We had our power outage day right before fall break. Our staff and kids did a great job through that.
Oh, but we got some ice cream. So
Yeah,
that's
we
really
got ice
important.
cream. I convinced all the kindergarten and first grade students that I gave them off fall break.
Yes.
That it was all it was
That's what I heard.
it was all me.
Oh my God.
I like to the point that I had a parent call me, be like, please tell my child that you did not plan this.
You were already at Disney and we were missing shit anyway. When we came back, I was like, did you know that Mr. V just gave us that week? Because we were so good when the power was out. I was like, you were already Disney, dude.
And this is how easy fake news can.
Yes. So we had fall break, which we hope everybody had a great time. We had National Staff Bullying Day. Kindergarten took a field trip to Evans Orchard. We had our EL family fall night, which we had about 50 to 60 people here. which was a great event for those families. We had our Buddy Classrooms Day. We had Conference Week, which was awesome. We had, I think, I'm not even going to guess yet right now. I got to go through and count all the data of how many conferences we had, but we had a lot. During that week, we had the Lexington Fayette County Popsicle Van come and visit to distribute popsicles on the coldest day of the year so far. But I was like, you're still coming. So then we had our amazing new library furniture, which just feels so nice and neat. So are there any additional items to celebrate?
We want 55 free tickets to a play tomorrow.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So 55 free tickets to the Lexington Children's Theater. So
I just applied for it. And it's a grant that they gave us, and they even paid for $300 for transportation as well.
Oh, wow.
So I think the total cost for the kiddos was just $2. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll move on down into school improvement planning report. We're going to be in phase 4, which is our progress. Or sorry, is there any public comments? Thank you. No public. So thank you. Thank you for keeping me on task, Kelly. Appreciate that. So now we're going to move on to the school improvement planning process. Today, we're going to be reviewing our data from the Kentucky Summative Assessment. This went public over fall break. So we're going to talk through that data and share just some information. I did share this at the PTA meeting on Monday. I've shared this with the staff a couple times, but this is just kind of looking at all of our information. I've shared it with a couple different groups of staff. We've not done anything staff-wide unless people wanted to come in over fall break and get this. So we're going to talk about the Kentucky Summative Assessment. We're going to shine a light on student progress. I do want to reiterate, this is 4 days, 4 to 5 days out of a whole entire year, a whole entire child's life. It doesn't matter to the children. It matters to us with that. So as we review this, when we talk about the points, a novice student counts for 0 points. So when we think about students performing at novice level, they don't get us any points towards our accountability. Apprentice students get us half of a point. Proficient students get a full point, and then distinguished students get a 1.25 points. So our goal here is really, that's why we always talk about reducing novice. We don't want any students scoring novice because we don't want them there, but it also, we don't get anything for them being novice. We want them to at least be at the apprentice level. So when the state does their rankings, their ratings, they rate us in in 2 different ways. We get a status score and a change score, which is growth. Status, we get 1 of 5 colors, from very low, which is red, all the way up to very high, which is blue. And so somewhere in the middle is orange, yellow, and green. And then they also have change, which is growth. So you have a red arrow that's facing down, which stands for decline significantly. And then a blue arrow facing up, which is increased significantly. So same colors with that. And then, because that's not already confusing enough, then it all goes together onto a matrix where you have to match up everything. So yes. So there's a lot here. What I hate in this current setup is you can be very high, have a very high score. Your kids can be scoring at the highest level possible. But if that score is lower than your previous score, you can be considered a yellow in a category. Like, that's how extreme it can be with different things. So you can get a blue score, but because of the change, you become yellow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we talk about accountability weights, reading and math combined count for 51% of our score. So at the elementary level, it's the high, reading and math are the highest level. Other assessments, science, social studies, and combined writing accounts for 40%. English learner progress is 5%, and quality of school climate and safety is 4%. So those are just the weights of everything. There's all these formulas. If anybody ever wants to know, I'm happy to sit down and go deep with you, but I'm not going to bore everybody with all of that. And then they combine everything together and they give an overall rating somewhere between red and blue. I'm not gonna, we are a green school this year, so we are in that higher range. Last year we were blue, but we fully expected that drop this year, and we were not the only school that saw a change like that. So now we're going to run through each content area. So reading and math, I'll go pretty in depth with, and then science, socialism, and writing, I won't go as deep with. So with reading, some great things here. Last year, we had 57% of our students scored proficient or distinguished on the reading assessment. Our goal this year was to be at 62. We achieved 63% of our students at proficient or distinguished in reading in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So this is assessment they take at 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We reduced our novice by 4% there. Our distinguished did go down, but they just moved into the proficient range. So still that high level of performance in reading. Then, because I am a super nerd and super competitive, I really wanted to know where we compared to everyone else. And so what I did is I went through and looked at each different school within Fayette County and school within the state and ranked them all. So in Fayette County, there are 38 elementary schools that receive a score. In the state, there are 674 elementary schools that have a score. Now, some groups don't get ranked if they don't have enough students. You have to have 30 students in each group to get a score. So some groups don't get ranked. Like, for example, at the bottom here, where in reading where you see SPED accommodations, and those are blank, we were not ranked in that because we did not have enough students. That
Is that just alternate portfolio?
that's anybody who had accommodations on special ed. So the key here that I looked at was just kind of where do we rank? I've looked at all of it. So overall in reading, we rank 11th within Fayette County and 88th within the state of Kentucky, but that's 88 out of 674. So even though like it doesn't sound like a great number, it still is a top 20% number. It's about top 15% looking at that. So then we look at novice, apprentice, proficient, and distinguished over time. This is my favorite chart on here because I look at this rate where we look at novice, and you can see here we have reduced our novice over the past 3 years. This first test, the 2021 test, that was the year we came out of the pandemic, and everybody took that test in 1 day. So that was the day everybody tested in a day, did all the tests. It was super fast. Yeah. So that was Megan. Megan did, yeah. So that was right before I started.
That was
on the computer too. First time on the computer, and it was taken in a day or in 2 days. Like it was really quick.
Again.
Blur.
He's trauma blocked.
So, but I also love to look at our rate of our proficient distinguished rate, which is increasing over those 3 years. So over time, our proficient and distinguished is increasing and our novice is declining. So that's what makes me extremely happy with this. Next, this looks at this current group, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. When we're talking about it, we're talking about last year's 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. So these are the current 4th graders, the current 5th graders, and current 6th graders is when we're talking about these. So you can see when we talk about proficient and distinguished, our 3rd grade had the highest level of proficiency in reading. 4th grade was next, and then 5th grade was the lowest. We knew coming in that this 5th grade group had some difficulties and was going to perform at this level. So these were not surprising scores. And so when we go over here and look at the change over time, I don't know why they're not the same color. Don't ask me. So this darker line down here, that was our 5th grade group last year. So they were higher in 3rd grade, dropped in 4th grade, and then came up a little bit in 5th grade. Then we have this orange line here is our current 5th grade. They were here in 3rd grade and climbed even higher in 4th grade with proficiency. And then this little dot is the 3rd grade group currently, because they only have 1 dot. So that's the current 4th graders with that. Then we look at comparing the different genders. So great news here across both genders, our percent proficient distinguished is growing. It's increasing for both genders, but our girls kick our boys' butts. So they,
It's also important to know that like in third grade, they do not write anything.
Yes.
It's all multiple choice. There's no written component at all.
so when we look at ethnicities, we are really targeting the Hispanic population. That's the group of students that we are looking at the most. Our goal was 49% proficiency. We got to 48%. So we are very happy with this, and looking at that rate. Our white students still outperform our other subgroups, but we're working to close those gaps between it. When we talk about economically disadvantaged students, our goal was for them to be at 50% proficiency. We got to 44. But you can see it is an increase over where we were last year. So it's still trending upwards. We're still making incremental progress there. With special education, if you are a student that is special ed, significantly underperforms a student who is non-special ed for obvious reasons. There's a reason that we are in special education, but so we're going to continue to work through that. So for EL, our goal here was to be at 47% proficiency. We got to 40%. So here, this is a little bit bigger of concern. It's prompting bigger discussions and everything. And we have had conversations with a lot of groups about how we've taken hits in our staffing of EL and just in how the district is supporting those positions and expectations. So things are happening there, but this is opening up broader conversations. But over time, our EL proficiency level has declined over the last 3 years. So in math, last year, we were at 58% proficiency. Our goal this year was to be at 59, and we got to 65. So this was awesome. Again, reduced novice, reduced apprentice, both proficient and distinguished both increased here. When we look at rankings, again, nerd, overall, we are 8th in the district in math, so significantly performing at a rate. Most schools are performing better in language arts and less in math. So we're kind of the reverse here, that our math is stronger. And we rank 67th overall in the state of Kentucky. So lots of great things. Very proud of the work that our staff and our students have done. When we look at novice, apprentice, proficient, distinguished, again, this chart makes me so happy. Again, we've reduced novice every single year. And I mean, if you just look at that proficient distinguished rate climbing over time, and this is with a group of 5th graders that we knew was going to struggle and have a hard time reaching proficiency in this grade level. So, I mean, I've got huge hope as we move into the future with these groups of students coming up. And then when we look at by grade level, 4th grade had our highest percentage in math this past year. Then it was 3rd grade, and then it was 5th grade. And again, you can see the colors. This darker color here, that's the 5th grade group that just left us. They were trending downward. The 4th grade group, again, shooting up, and then the 3rd grade group is a little dot. There they are. So, and we have made some changes at 5th grade just to try and support and improve our practices here. When we talk about gender, again, both groups, girls and boys, are both going up. Again, girls are smarter than the boys.
Better.
Yep. So, so when we talk about ethnicity, again, our goal for Hispanics was at 33%. We got to 33%, so we met our goal for that. So we're continuing to grow that. Economically disadvantaged, our goal was 40. We got to 44. So good progress there. Special education, again, underperformed compared to non-special ed. No, everyone's surprised by that.
It's ridiculous.
EL, our goal here was to be at 37%. We ended at 24%. This is why I feel like putting that money into those MTSS EL paraeducators to support math is going to make a change and impact this area, because we've got a lot of EL students that are going to now get support in the area of math that haven't been able to. Okay, science. Science is taken only at the 4th grade level. It is, I don't like to look at like change over time. I do, but I don't. Because it's different groups of kids. We're talking about a different group of kids annually. So last year we were at 38%. Our goal was to be at 54. We got to 50. So again, we reduced novice here. But again, two totally different groups of children that it makes it hard.
It's also content from kindergarten, first grade, second
Yeah.
grade, fourth grade.
When we look at rankings, overall in the Fayette County, we're 8th. In the state, we're 91st. Our girls novice was the second lowest in the state of Kentucky. When we looked at that. So next is writing. Again, I'm not going into depth because these are totally different groups of kids and changes everything. With writing, last year our goal was 40, or we got to 48%. Our goal was to be at 50. We ended at 30%. For that group of students, we are very happy with what that group produced. There was concern that we were going to be a lot lower than that. So it doesn't look like a good score. It's not something we're like singing and shouting out like, we got to 30%, but it's also, as a staff, we are celebrating what our students were able to achieve from that specific group.
Fourth and fifth grade writing.
For just 5th grade. It's just 5th now.
Oh, okay.
So is this last year's fourth graders or this year's fifth graders?
Last year's 5th graders. So the
Last
current
year's
6th graders.
Sixth grade.
Correct, sixth grade.
So, and this is where we've, yes, where we've implemented and paid for that core connections training that's now going to be supported at both 4th and at 5th grade. It's going to continue to grow this area for us.
What contributed to suspecting that this would be a struggle? Is it pandemics?
This was a group that they came in already behind at kindergarten. Then they got hit with the pandemic in 1st and 2nd grade. And then they came back and had 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade and were already,
Still trying to catch up.
yes.
It was an unusually large percentage of children with special needs.
Okay.
With some pretty significant learning
Yeah.
issues. And statistically, it's not usually that high.
But also didn't qualify for alternate portfolio, so
Yes,
you're
so
still.
like
Oh.
the year I had that group,
Mhm.
I had 16 kids, 8 of them had night. So, I mean, they had, you know.
Yeah.
It just was odd. I've never had that happen before.
And their data had been tracking in the same, at the same level. That group had consistently underperformed every other grade level, even with multiple levels of
And that was
support.
a grade level that really hit pandemic, you know,
Sure.
loss of students,
Like,
people leaving,
I
like,
was just about to say, since the pandemic has ended, have you all seen less shifts in like what's transient, like students and things? Have you
For the
seen
most
more of a
part,
consistent-
Yeah. We're getting more students coming from out of the country,
Yeah.
specifically out of Central America, that realm, where we used to get more from Europe and Asia. We're seeing more come from the Hispanic countries. But we're seeing more of a consistency with the families that are here in Glendover. They are, for the most part, staying in the community.
Yeah, that current sixth grade group, last year's fifth grade, they missed what, half of first and all of second
Mhm.
was virtual?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we lost a lot of that group was a group of about 60 kids. I mean, we had when they were 4th graders, we had 4 classes with 15 and 16 kids in each class. Then they went to 5th grade. There were still less than 20 kids in each, like it was just, they
So many
were,
pulled out. towards the end of the
yeah.
pandemic. Back.
Mhm.
I think when we didn't, you know, in that group got a hit when people who wanted to come in person went other venues.
Maybe
That was
the
beyond
needs
our,
of
that was,
parents
Uh-huh.
yeah. So you're dealing with a group that,
That's where, yeah.
and then a lot of people after they left, they just didn't come back.
So, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
And the numbers always only tell part of the story.
Yeah. And this group, like the higher end of this group, a lot of them chose to go to GTAP at that point because we had a lot of turnover in our gifted program, and where we've had a lot more consistency over the last several years with our GT teacher, that's starting to level out and we're not seeing as many kids go out. Even though I will say we have 75 kids that are applying in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade for visual and performing arts GT testing.
75.
75.
Wow. That's a
They-
lot.
Some of them say, I am applying to play guitar. Do you play guitar? No, but I want to.
75 are given the opportunity.
Maybe
They
they'll
have
not
to
put
then
those
Yes.
discuss it with their families and bring back a signed permission slip. And I feel like the number
I
might
think
not be
it, I
quite
think
that
it,
high.
it will come down, but still the fact that there are 75 kids that are interested in the visual and performing arts is a great, great thing. So here we see a bigger hit when we talk about rankings overall in Fayette County. We're at 24th in the county. In the state, we're 279. When we look at data coming out of when this group specifically, when we looked at kind of writing things coming out of 4th grade, if we had not implemented the Core Connections program and put some things in place last year, we would have been even further. So we've done great things. Social studies is also only taken at the 5th grade level. So the prior year, 73% of our students were proficient or distinguished. I will say of that group, over a third of them were gifted in something. This group, as we talked about, was not. So the goal was 55%. We got to 50. And the social studies test and the science test are pretty much reading tests. If you can read, you can do it. So that's kind of so the fact that we got to 50% here on a really reading-based test is pretty good. So overall in social studies in the district, we rank 16th. In the state, we rank 141st. Now, smaller portion is EL progress. There's a whole lot of numbers that are going to get thrown at you here. So they give us, you can get anywhere for accountability, you get anywhere from 0 to 140 points. Now, how do you get those points? You have to look at another matrix to figure out where you fall on this thing. So what I hate about this is, if you were a 4 point, so it's levels of English proficiency. If you got a 4.0 and you get then moved up to a 4.5, you've exited EL services. But because you've only gone from a 4.0 to a 4.5, you only get 80 points. Whereas a student who goes from a 3.9 to a 4.5 gets 100 points. So it's just, it's stupid little things like this that irritate me about the way there's no perfect way to set up the assessment accountability system. I understand that, but that irritates me. So what we really look at though, is we look at these last two parts on this graph. Who made less than a half a year of growth and who made half a year of growth or greater. And you can see over time, last year, we had about 50% of our students make less than a year of growth on their language acquisition test. This assessment is given in January. So this is a January to January assessment. The prior year in 22-23, we exited 40 kids from EL services. So the ones that we were left with are slower to acquire language. They take more time. So we should hopefully see with another year, this should boom again. And what we saw is a lot of schools we exited a ton and now we exited none. We exited a ton and it just kind of goes back and forth. Quality of school climate and safety. Students, this is a student survey they take on the first day. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade all take this survey. They can give 2 thumbs down, 1 thumbs down, 1 thumb up, or 2 thumbs up.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
They feel great about these things. And the questions make total sense. And then they equate to certain points. So I will say this assessment was given in the same semester as our threat that occurred. So for me, I'm stoked with this. In school climate, we grew from an 82 to an 85.2 average score.
Great.
And with school safety, we went from 77.6 to 80.8. So even though we went through that threat experience and had to endure that, our students still feel loved and cared for and safe. And that's ultimately what we want. So then we look at which questions fall below 80%, just so we can start to look at, okay, where are areas that we can work on? So you can see our first one was a teacher or some other adult from my school will care if I miss a day of school. So we're going to be having conversations. How do we ensure that our kids know that we care when they're not here? Number 7 is consistently low. All students are treated the same if they break school rules. Kids have a hard time understanding that different kids need different things. and they get different
And then it's actually
consequences.
True.
Yeah,
Like
they-
they're not.
They're not. And so, right.
Like,
And so that's where I'm like, that's what I'm not worrying about.
when they answer that, be like, okay, I agree. They're not treated the same. Like we talk about that.
Yes, you're different people. So I feel comfortable stating my opinion in class, even if others disagree. So can do some work there. This one personally hurts my soul because we put so much focus and so much talk about around this. Students from this school respect each other's differences, gender, culture, race, religion, ability. Only 76% of our students said agree or strongly agree. So I don't know. We don't know if they just didn't understand what it was asking or what kind of, that has never popped up before.
Maybe they had a bad day.
So they could have had a bad day.
2 thumbs down.
That
Yeah.
this is that question.
Yes, that's exactly.
last question.
The wording is so
Really
bad.
terrible.
The not.
So,
yeah, that-
23 and 25 are stupid. We don't even talk about them because they were already bad. And then they tried to put, when they first wrote the questions, they wrote them without the word not. And so the kids had to then on those questions put disagree or strongly disagree. And none of them did. And so now just to make it better, oh, we're just going to put the word not. Students being mean or hurtful to other students is not a problem for our school.
I agree. It's not a problem, or I agree. Like they don't understand how to answer it. And then they ask you and you go, do your best.
And the knots half the time.
Yeah.
That's all we can say. Do your best.
So you can't like.
No,
explain the question.
No. You can say, do your best. That's all you can say.
Cause you would be influenced.
Uh-huh.
Young kids too.
Yeah.
I feel safe at school.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that anything for elementary is written at third grade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are, and this is given at a third grade assessment. Like it's, so,
And they don't even know what some of those words, like gender, culture, race.
Yeah. so those are just areas that we kind of look at and say, okay, we can have discussions around this. How do we, is there something we need to do differently as a school?
Statewide or nationwide?
Statewide. Yep. So overall, here we go. So we get a score in status for each of these areas. Another matrix. Then we get a score for change. Another chart. Then it all goes on to this thing. Okay. So when we talk about reading and math, when they ultimately give us our score, we got an 83.5, which puts us in the very high range. So we are achieving reading and math at a very high rate. That is 5.7 points higher than last year's score. So we are in the increased category. So yay, we are very high and we increase. So with reading and math, we are blue. Yay, us. Okay. With science, social studies, and writing, we are at a 66.3, which is a medium. But look, we're only 0.6 away from being in the high range. So we're at the higher end of that median. But that is 8.3 points below. So that's in the decline significantly range. So because we are medium and we decline significantly, hey, science, social studies, writing, we're orange. Okay. Yep. There was worry we were going to go red. It's like that was a fear at one point. For English learner progress, we were a 61.1, which is in the high range. But because we were so high the year before, we did too good of a job, we dropped 21.4 points, which has declined significantly. So because we're high and decline significantly, we're yellow. Quality. Quality of school climate and safety. We are 83 points, which is in the very high range. That's 3.2 points higher. So that's in the increased range, which means very high increase. We're blue. And you can see here's all of our cut scores. So we never fall below the medium range. So we are either average or above average when we talk about each assessment. However, increased, declined significantly. And then you can see here's where everything falls. Now comes the real fun. Because that wasn't
As if we weren't having.
that wasn't confusing enough as it is. So now, because the state of Kentucky in all their glory says, let's just make this more confusing. So we have current year status. Those are those scores, the 83.5, 66.3, 61.1, 83. Then we have last year's scores, 77.8, 74.6, 82.5, 79.8. So here's where those change scores are. 5.7, 8.3 down to 21.4, 3.2. But because the state said it's not bad enough that this score went down, we also want everyone to know that your score went down. So now we're going to take this score and we're going to subtract those points or add those points from that score. And now we get this. So with reading, we went from an 83.5, they add 5.7, that takes us to an 89.2. Science, socialized writing, 66.3, they subtracted 8.3, now we're at 58. EL, this is the one that makes me sick, 61.1, we are in the high achievement. But because we dropped 21 points, they're going to drop us to a 39.7, which makes it look like we have low achievement for our ELs, which is not true at all. Off my soapbox. So quality school climate safety, 83, up 3.2, 86.2. So then it goes on this chart. We need another chart. And you can see our overall score becomes a 74.1, which is solidly in the green area. So, yep.
If you did not do that change indicator, where would we be on the report card?
I did not.
You did it right.
I probably did it at one point and just don't remember what I got. Let me see. I could do it real quick. 83.5 times 0.51. 42.432. 66.3 times 0.4. 26.52. 61.1 times 0.05. 3.055. 83 times 0.04, 3.32 plus 42.432 plus 26.52 plus 3.055 plus 3.32, 75.327. So we would be higher, still in the green range, but we would be higher. So I did calculate that, but
Our realistic score of where we are.
yes, and that's my mindset is, okay, where are we at realistically? So when I go and do my rankings,
The
I-
thing is, you're not really comparing the same kids when you do that.
You're not.
fringe factor.
you're
So
not.
that's not really fair. And I thought that was supposed to fix that. Like that wasn't supposed to happen with the new system.
Yeah.
That you're comparing apples and oranges there.
Uh-huh.
Those are not the
Like
same
with
kids.
reading and math, I'm like, okay, we can compare that. Quality of school climate safety, we could compare those two. In both
But you
those
can't
two,
compare. Like
we-
you exited kids. Like,
right?
you're not-
EL, science, socialism, writing, we can't compare
No,
those in
you can't.
any capacity.
No.
Like
Not even a
it's
little.
it's totally different groups. So because I cared about that, I looked at the indicator score, which is what comes with the change and where we rank after the change. So in Fayette County, after the change, we rank 15th overall in Fayette County, 141st in the state. The status is where we rank if in our individual score based on just the achievement score from this test this year. So you can see with our indicator, because we had higher growth, we were overall 7th in the district. Our score actually puts us 11th in the district, 62 and 69. Science, socialized writing, we're 22nd and 247th. EL progress 33rd and 147th. School climate and safety, our actual score, the number we got from our kids this year puts us at #1 in the district. We're tied with Clays Mill.
Wow.
But because they were slightly lower than us last year, when they add the growth in, they move above us on the official rankings. But according to our kids, we have the #1 best environment in Fayette County. So,
Considering what happened last year, but also because I think about like that question about like agreeing with you can disagree with other people's opinions or people's
Yeah.
respectful. Like I think about like safety and that of like we have such a diverse student body that overall students are feeling so safe to be within such a diverse group.
Yeah.
I also think our kids are very empathetic. Like
Yeah.
they're so nice. Like they understand like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they understand that and they get that, which is why they answer that way to that question because there are people in our school who have, extreme needs and they do have different.
Yeah. So yes, overall, we have some areas to continue to improve on, but there are so many celebrations here. And even though we went from blue to green, I'm singing this as a praise and a happy, and my competitive side hurts, but my pride for everything we've done here just is astronomical. So
Are there, this data, what are the implications from like funding, resources?
0.
It's just to have it.
Yep.
to make people feel good about
Yep.
it. Well, and to shine light on
Yes.
where we're doing well.
Yeah,
Yes.
For Pearson to be in
But,
business.
Yes. But yes, and it's like it's a 4-day test, so it's looking at like a couple days where we can have a kid who's had a terrible week and they bomb everything. Like, and at the elementary level, we still have kids that care. They still want to show, hey, I've got this and do this. Middle and high is fighting this battle of apathy and I don't care. It doesn't
What about
impact
how
me
they
at all.
There's no
Well, you know that
accountability.
if they made the state testing like a video game kind of thing,
Oh, yeah.
I truly believe that they would have kids that would care enough to want to get ahead and play the game.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying.
And the state is looking, it's
It's
been a couple years, so the state is looking at revising the evaluation system again, so we can't really tell what we've done anymore.
Which
But
means that even less to be able to compare.
Well,
yes,
The science test is bad.
like
bad.
science, there is, I don't even remember how many at the high school level, there are a ton of perfect scores on science ACT, perfect scores, but only one high school student got distinguished in the state of Kentucky, in the state,
What?
one.
Wow. Well, that says something about your test there, doesn't it?
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
Sure.
yes. So, yes.
For sure. Crazy.
So,
Another thing we
Not
should
about
put on
ACT,
one.
yeah.
And the science
So-
ACT is really reading graphs and charts.
Uh-huh.
You really don't have to know as much content.
Yeah. So,
Say it was like something about
And
something of the
vocabulary, science,
Oceana on the
vocabulary.
social
Uh-huh.
studies one.
Yep.
Cause it tests you from
But
like
it's-
kindergarten to 4th grade.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can't review all of the things that they
I
have to know.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Like
And
in
I'm
the,
an
and
adult.
it's, and
You
it's
know what
not
I
a-
mean? Like
And
that.
it's not it is
It's
not a type
unreasonable.
of test where it's not remembering facts and details. It's just like.
Yeah.
Before I'd be like, yeah, I can cover all this. I can get it.
Yeah.
We had fabulous science scores.
yeah, the old science test was truly a content test. It was, do you know this? Do you know the facts? And the new one is not that. So,
So the new one is more like writing, no,
Reading.
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 Reading at a pretty decent grade level and then like. how to describe it?
We can't really talk about it because we've not ever seen it official, like,
It's like the
we've-
standards are very different too, like they're more,
Consider NSGR stand, I mean, when they.
Yeah,
came
they
up with those
changed
new
it.
standards-
NGSS
There's-
standards.
like they're more, situational, they call it a phenomenon, like you look at an event and then you talk about the science related to that event. But you have to have a good foundation
Sure.
to understand that. And then you have to be able to read and then reason your way through that. I mean, the way the standards are written, not the test.
Yeah, the
are written.
standards,
Yeah, the
yes.
standards are, I mean.
Yeah. So based on this and our fall assessment data, our school-wide success team worked together to review and create our needs assessment. And by create, I mean, they told me what they thought our needs were, and then I typed up the document. So this document here that you have just says what our needs are currently. It goes into a whole lot of detail about how we did that. If you really want to know kind of what we put as our need is to continue to work on student engagement, writing, and EL supports is kind of those three main areas that we feel like if we can continue to do these things, they're already in our CSIP, they're already working towards those pieces. Where is it at? It's at the very end. So it's really focusing in on the student gap groups. Where's it go? So we just said the focus for Glendover Elementary on student engagement and writing instructional strategies, which will support all of our students. That's under number 8 on page 8.
Here's the part of the group that
It's every single, a teacher from every single grade level. So special area, special ed, a classified representative. So trying to represent a whole lot of populations. They looked at all the data and it all very clearly says we need to work specifically in writing and on EL supports. The next document that you have, and then we'll have a motion to approve, is just our school assurances document. I can tell you for every question we needed to answer yes to, we answered yes to. So you are welcome to go through and read it all, but it just says, yes, we have done everything in there. There is no, there's no comments. It's either yes or not applicable. So do we have a motion to approve our needs assessment and school assurances documents? Motion by Ms. Ott, second by Ms. Russell. All in favor of approving our needs assessment and school assurances, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Awesome. Now let me need to go faster. That's the bulk of our work there. Okay. The next item here is just the munis account statements. We are in a good state here, continuing to spend out our money, purchase things that we need. You can see there's a negative right now in Glendover kindergarten. That's just because somebody worked a couple hours overtime and just money hasn't been shifted into that account. So we're kind of just in these holding patterns. Same thing with building operations. The custodians had to work overtime to assist with different events and different things to fund that. We did get all of the supplemental duties put in, so staff members are starting to get paid for their time and efforts outside of the school day. I think what else, if there's anything in here that's really new.
Drink all their rugs.
Third grade's rugs came in. Yeah. We shifted that. Instead of paying from Title I, we had some leftover ESS funds from last year. So we shifted to that because that was expiring where Title I wasn't. So I just shifted around who funded what to make that happen. Preschool's got $92,000 sitting there. I don't know what to... So, but yeah, most of the, anywhere you see a big amount of money, it's typically tied up in salaries, and it's just kind of setting there, holding. Yeah. So yes, overall, we are in a positive state, and spending our money wisely. The next up is your school activity fund report. You can see those total. We have right now $100,507.87. We did today cut a check for $7,000 out of this to pay for the writing training that we approved a couple weeks last month. There's also some money that will be coming out of here for a little bit left over in staffing, where we had to fund some positions. I will say, as we talk about spending and looking at the future, I have heard rumblings from the district that they may be moving the cut point for Title I up from 50 even higher. So because there's so many schools qualifying at the 50% rate, that they may move that cut percentage.
Yes.
So there's a chance that we may, if they move it higher than 50, we ain't getting it. We're barely making the 50 each year, but so that's just something to think about, that we may want this pot to grow as big as we can. And I'll just keep lying and telling the district that we're using it. So, but yeah. So, the next item, we don't have any committee reports tonight, so we'll move into our bylaw or policy revision. So you have one policy that is an action item for today, and that is just to fix a few typos and change the names of leadership and best to beast. So we now have Beast Plus and Beast 2.0 as well. It's just there's sub pockets of that same group, but we like naming different things. So do we have a motion to approve?
Something else you could rearrange those letters.
Right, it's horrible.
I mean, we can say stabe. So So, okay, Miss Lane has motioned. Do we have a second? Second by Miss Hill. All in favor of approving our committee's policy, please say aye.
Based.
Based.
B-A-S-T-E.
Motion carries. It'll be the,
Spelling bee in my head.
what? Lane and Hill. Based. It'll be the behavior academic support team emotions. The base team. We got based. Okay, awesome. Okay, next item on our agenda is our enrollment update. You can see our current list. We have 456 students. As of right now, we do have a couple students that are supposed to be moving.
Moving out of
Masacas,
district.
moving to a different school in Fayette County.
Okay.
So, and then we have a couple family, like, so we've heard that there's some families moving out. We're continually enrolling. So,
There's houses for sale all over there.
there are. So, so you can see that's where our groupings lie. Fourth grade continues to be one of our highest groups. K and 1 are our highest groups. Fifth grade is tiny. Yeah, second grade is, and they kind of go up and then come down. They come up, then go down. So, and then our next item is our attendance update.
I know, as soon as I said it.
Yeah. You can see where we stand with attendance. So we'll go down, then we have a good week, and then we go down, and then we have a good week, and then we go down. Kindergarten, this group likes to be absent a fair amount.
There's been a lot.
There's been a lot of illness. Yes. So that, yeah.
A lot of sick kindergartners.
So yes, this has been rough. The week right before fall break, shockingly, was rough. Like, I know everybody's super surprised. That's the 9/23 to 9/27. That week, almost only fifth grade was still here because those parents needed them to be at school for another couple days. So, but you can see that stand. Okay, the next item on our agenda is staffing and hiring update. I did send an email to the council that one of the people that we initially recommended for hire disappeared. We lost all communication. Like, they just
Ghosted you.
yes. So we reopened the position. With that, we had the one that we hired, Kristen McManus. She started about a week ago. She's already gotten sick, so she was out a couple days. But right. So, but she's been great. She's been working with the kids and loving on that. So we did do interviews on Friday afternoon. And the
Still can't say her name.
it's typed right here. It's not right here. So we hired a woman. Her name is Melissa. You'll have to fix it on your if you're using my notes, you're gonna want to it's Melissa Tullis. I keep wanting to call her Teresa Mullis. I don't know why. I've done it. So her name is Melissa Tullis. She has previously been an EL teacher at university level, was an EL teacher for kindergarten, first and second grade, an EL program director. She was a para in kindergarten at Maxwell for a couple years in the Spanish speaking room. So she has lots of experience working with this. She comes with, and she states, an intermediate knowledge of Spanish. So we have recommended her for hire. Her official offer went out this afternoon. I've not seen if she has accepted at this point. But we hope to get her started as soon as possible with that. So.
When you get a chance to update what list services people need.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I will do that.
Writing myself.
Yep.
Things I need to do.
Okay, moving on down. The next thing is field trips. Fourth grade is requesting to go to Frankfurt, and they're going to get to go. They are going to take a school bus so that it does not, so they don't have to fundraise and work to find the funds. It does mean they can't do as much as they've done in the past, but they'll still get to.
Barf bags with them.
Miss Bowers loves the school buses. But so they'll be going to
One year I
Frankfurt.
did.
So,
There's not enough time. That's
Yeah.
the other issue. So we're only doing the capital income.
Yeah.
So how much would it have cost if you got, about double that?
Easy or more.
yeah,
Is first grade? I don't think first grade.
Well, the capital doesn't charge.
I think so.
It's free.
It's free, it's just.
Yeah.
Still thinking about it?
Still thinking about it. So they're going to,
We chose to wait till
Frozen
after the
or
election just to let
a
things
play.
kind of die.
No, that's second grade.
I think it's great.
thought first grade was going to one too.
First grade hasn't,
I haven't made the list of who's going where.
Going to a children's theater, like
Uh-huh.
a play, yeah.
And then
First grade going.
third grade's going to L in November, but they've already gone. Well, they did.
They did 4-H, yeah.
Because kindergarten's going to Frozen.
Frozen, and they already did pumpkin patch.
Uh-huh.
First grade's only.
Yeah.
I've had some years.
Yeah.
You can see that in front of you.
Yeah.
Have you taken first grade? Well, I'm like, I don't approve them, but do you know them?
Yeah. So that one will be up and coming. We also have fifth grade going tomorrow to the Lexington Children's Theater, as we said, on a free-ish, close to free trip.
A cheap trip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next item here are just some fund requests that go kind of above and beyond what their normal classroom money is. So the first one is our preschool program is requesting a convertible bench table for their playground area because there's nowhere for the kids to sit. So this is $190. The top folds down. So it makes it into a table
Maybe they should just drag one over.
like that. They're bolted down.
Oh, okay.
Stuff from the PTA, but they were like, we can't the library furniture. So I said, okay.
So this is $189. This would probably come out of the after school fund just to make sure we have enough in our section 6 allocation if we choose to go with that. I'll do the other one, which is Pebble Go. Miss Lane got a quote for us.
Not just me,
This is
by the way.
it's school wide. So it's a $2,400 expense to get all the databases for the school
Number 3, vocabulary.
as a whole. You didn't send me a quote. I need a quote.
That's you 100 times.
And I said, send me a quote.
You did not. You said no.
I said, no, I will not be contacting because I don't want to get the 1,000 emails from the man once you send that email asking for the quote. Because he does not stop.
I will buy it and give my password.
So,
I have been using some person's password for 3 years and I don't even know who they are.
so these are just areas. Pebble Go is just an easy to use student database. It's a lot easier to read
And
things.
It's student friendly, where we have Kentucky Virtual Library, but it's not an elementary friendly database. It's just.
If you, I trust that if you think we have the funds to approve
Yeah,
those, then
yeah,
I
let's
believe
approve
the
it.
board.
Okay, so I'm gonna say that's a Hobbs from Miss Motion. A motion from Miss Hobbs. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A second by Miss Hill. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Awesome. So,
Are you concussed?
okay, so, yeah.
Hey, I thought this was for the kids. Wait,
It is in reality. Healthy teacher, healthy children.
So in your packet, you've got 3 policies, which we'll review next month. This assignment of instructional and non-instructional staff time, student assignment, and the school schedule policy. So if you'll take some time to review, that just makes our meetings go faster. So we are at item number 9, everybody's favorite item. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Emotion.
A motion by Ms. Hill. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Lane. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We hope that